I will be sharing with you all how to access the translation services. At this time, I'm going to screen share, and I'm going to ask that our Spanish interpreter greet our families.
Familia. So the following announcement will be stating we have Spanish interpretation tonight. Buenas noches, hoy día Paulina y yo, Marisela, estaremos ofreciendo servicios de interpretación. Por favor, marca a la línea 347-966-4114. Ingrese el ID de conferencia 279-252-150, símbolo numeral. Si desea escuchar audio en español, pero desea permanecer en esta sala de conferencia con Zoom, para poder ver la audiencia en su computadora, silencie su computadora y volumen y marque de su teléfono a la línea de conferencia en español. Nuevamente, la línea de conferencia en español es 347-966-4114. Ingrese el ID de conferencia 279-252-150. Numeral. Gracias.
Thank you to our Spanish interpreter.
Gracias a nuestro intérprete de español.
And now I'm going
Ahora
to invite our Mandarin interpreter
a nuestro intérprete de mandarín
to greet our families too.
El mismo anuncio.
大家晚上好，今天晚上有中文普通话翻译，请拨打热线347-966-4114，然后请输入密码756-493-840，井号键。再重复一遍，如果今天晚上想听中文普通话翻译，请拨打热线347-966-4114，然后请输入密码756-493-840，井号键。如果你想在听翻译的同时还在网上视频，请按静音键。谢谢。Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so I'm going to stop sharing. And for our families who are going to be, who may join us after this presentation, I'm going to continue to periodically put in the chat how to contact or how to access our translation services. I'm going to do that now. I am going to turn it over to our Deputy Superintendent, Christine Mustillo.
Thank you so much, Felicia, and thank you again to Translation and Interpretation for joining us on this call to support our families. I'm actually going to pass it over to our superintendent, Carrie Chan, who's going to welcome us.
Thank you all. Thank you, Felicia. You wear so many hats now, so super appreciative. Thank you, parents. Thank you, principals. Thank you, school teams. Thank you, Office of Enrollment, for joining us tonight. This week has been incredibly special. Every day we have been showcasing and highlighting our wonderful elementary schools. And what's really unique about District 1 is that we welcome families from all 5 boroughs. We are a choice district. That's super important. And so please keep that in mind. Second is that we also know that this has been an incredibly challenging year for everyone. There's just so many transitions, and this is the first time we're doing the elementary sort of school fair virtually. And we will continue to do that because moving forward, because we are getting a lot of positive feedback from families that they are able to attend Zoom sessions than being in person. So anyways, I know you don't want to hear a lot from me. I'm sure you want to hear from our schools. I want to say thank you to 142, 110, 134, 184 for all being here tonight. So enjoy.
Thank you. This is also just a reminder, we're going to go to the Office of Enrollment next, but please make sure that you're on mute if you're not speaking. Thanks so much. And we have Vashti Valerius with us. Did I say that right?
That is correct. Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here to share with you just the application process for pre-K and 3K for all. So I'm going to just share my screen with you momentarily, and we're just going to talk about the application period. So thank you again. All right, awesome. So we have the, wait, awesome. Okay, so I just wanted to go over how we parents can apply for 3K and pre-K for all. So we're always excited for the little kids. So children born in 2018 can apply to attend 3K. The deadline is April 30th, and children born in 2017 can also apply to attend pre-K, and the deadline for that is April 7th. Families can submit an application in one of two ways. You can do it online at myschools.nyc, or you can do it by phone by calling the number 718-935-2009. And we have translations and interpretation services available through each application path, and ready to and willing to help families accordingly. So we wanted to definitely just show a screenshot of just My Schools, right? Families can list up to 12 choices on their applications, and families can also edit their application even after they hit submit, up until the deadline. Even again, if you submitted it already, we encourage families to use the myschools.nyc directory to explore all program options and contact schools directly for virtual open houses and other tour options that schools are willing to help and assist families. In the spring, families that applied by the initial deadline, you will get the results letter. All students who apply to pre-K will receive an offer, right? So many students, due to high demand, not all all students who apply to pre-K will receive an offer. Many students who apply to 3K will receive an offer, but due to high demand, not all families that apply to 3K will receive an offer. Families living in 3K districts have high priority to attend programs in their district. To secure their seat for the fall, families should accept their initial offer. After accepting their offer, families will work directly with the school to register. Families are automatically on the wait list for any program they ranked higher than where they got an offer. If we are unable to provide a family with a 3K offer, they will be on the wait list for each program from their application. Over the summer, families can hear back from any program where they were on the wait list for. Schools will contact families directly if they can offer you a wait list seat. Accepting an initial offer does not impact chances of getting a wait list offer. So let's talk about program types, right? So there are 4 different types of programs that families can list on their application. You have zone schools, which most schools have an area around them called their zone. If you live within this zone, that school is your zone school, and you can receive a priority for admissions. You also have your non-zone district schools, which District 1 is a non-zone district. Non-zone district schools do not have a zone. This means that no addresses are assigned to them. They admit students from throughout the district and or the borough. You have pre-K centers, which are run by the New York City Department of Education, but are separate from district schools. These schools can offer pre-K and in some cases 3K and admit students from throughout the districts where they are located. District 1 does not currently have any pre-K centers, but we also have NYSECs and FCCs, and these programs are run by community-based organizations that have a contract with the New York City Department of Education. NYSECs do not make offers based on where the family lives. They prioritize current students in their programs, and they consider other applicants. Family child care networks, also known as home-based programs, are run by licensed child care providers in their homes. In this setting, 3K children are served in a mixed age group from children aged birth to 3, and this setting is only available for 3K. There are currently NYSECs on the 3K application in District 1. There will be a communication to families when district schools are added to the 3K application later in the application cycle. If you have created a My Schools account or signed up for an email update, you will get this in email communication. Let's discuss how offers are made. In all cases, nobody is guaranteed their top choice. It depends on program seating availability and the rest of the applicant pool. Applicants are considered based on applicant choices, program seats availability, and admissions priorities. Your application choices. You can choose up to 12 programs that you'd like your child to attend, placing programs in your true order of preference, with your first choice being at the top as number 1. Your child will be considered for admissions for each program you list on your application. They will get one offer to the pre-K or 3K program you listed highest that also has an open seat. Program seats availability. Each pre-K and 3K program has a certain number of available seats. Programs vary in size, and many have more applicants than seats. If a program has more applicants than seats, admission priorities are used to make offers. Admission priorities, your child has a better chance of getting into some programs than others. When a program can't make offers to all applicants, offers are made based on which children have the highest admissions priority to attend that program. Children are considered in priority groups, and all students in the first priority group are considered first. If seats are available, children in the second priority group are considered next, and so on. Program demand varies greatly. Some programs admit applicants from most of all priority groups, while others only admit applicants from their first priority group. Diversity in admissions. All district schools in District 1 participate in diversity in admissions. The admission model gives priority to students who qualify for free or reduced lunch, which is FRL, or students in temporary housing, and student and English language learners, for a set percentage of offers at every District 1 elementary school for pre-K and 3K. Students who do not fall into these categories will get a priority for the remaining percentage offers. Each year, we ensure that the percentage of offers made for each group reflect the diversity of the children applying. Get in touch with the Office of Student Enrollment. You can email us at esenrollment@schools.nyc. You can give us a call, or you can submit an application online at myschools.nyc and sign up for updates at schools.nyc.gov/signup. Thank you again for your time, and I'll be around for questions in the end.
Thank you so much. So for the sake of time, we are going to go to our school presentations. There is a question and answer period at the end, but if you want to put questions in the chat as we move along, feel free to do that. If questions can be answered in the chat, they will be. And if they cannot be answered in the chat, we'll go through the questions at the end. So we are going to start with PS 110 and Principal Karen Fuhrer. You're on mute, Karen.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let's hope I find my presentation. Let me know if you could see this.
We can see it.
Okay, awesome. So first I want to thank the district for organizing this virtual event for 3K and 4K. And then I want to share that the PowerPoint presentation everybody is about to see tonight was put together last year by one of my pre-K teachers, Alice Glick. She happens to be on this event this evening. Thank you, Alice, for putting this together, and for obviously we're finding another use for it, which is awesome. It was originally intended to share with her peers as an exemplar for a remote pre-K classroom. And while I think it still remains an exemplar, it's also a just right presentation to show all of you what pre-K looks like at 110, whether remote or in person. So let me go to the next slide. Whoops. Wait. This is the problem with being your own presenter. Okay, so right over here, this introduction page somewhat captures key features of a pre-K classroom at 110. In this case, it was morning announcement in a remote classroom, but in an in-person classroom, it would be morning meeting. There's a variety of learning center topics for the center activities that occur 2 times a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and each one of them is a little bit over an hour. And by the way, learning centers in our pre-K classroom, which I think is pretty standard across the board, are the predominant learning structures for students in pre-K, and you'll see more of that later on. And then here listed is parent engagement. We have multiple opportunities for parent engagement at 110, and I'll show you what those look like as well. So this was a morning announcement that was shared in a remote classroom stream. In an in-person classroom, there'd be a morning message each day. At some point, that morning message might become more interactive. For example, the pre-K teacher might ask students to write their name on a whiteboard, which is right outside the classroom before they walk in, or respond to a question. For example, how did you get to school today? And then later on, the pre-K teacher would use that information to create a graph of the various ways students got to school that are connected to the, let's say, the transportation unit, or it might be an opportunity for kids to put down either a happy, sad, smile, well, happy, smiley, sad face, or some kind of representation of the way they're feeling that morning before they get into the classroom. It's also an opportunity for teachers to share relevant information for the day. So let's go on. This slide, it shows you the sampling of centers that might be in place during any given week. For example, Science Center, Math Center, Writing Center, Computer Center, Library Center. And again, up above, there's a line for the family share, which is typically the end of unit celebration at the end of each of the 10 units of study, but there are also other opportunities for families to share in the classroom. And again, the family share is a way for students to demonstrate what they've learned in the unit and to share that learning with an audience. Each day, there's a variety of centers that are set up for learning. Students have a choice of activities. The materials and the resources at each of those centers changes depending on the unit of study, and typically they are connected to the unit of study. So for example, in the water unit, there'd obviously be opportunities to explore water in a variety of different ways. So here we have an example and a visual of down below a plant unit of study deepened by in an art center where students can create their own 3D flowers or illustrate what plants need to grow. Again, multiple opportunities to experience a variety of materials and do it differently each time they attend that center. I also want to point out above the Multicultural Center, the theme of multiculturalism and the unique contributions of all backgrounds and nationalities does definitely enrich our pre-K classrooms. This is a theme that's kind of a thread throughout the year. In addition to pointing out the uniqueness of all cultures, obviously there are commonalities that come across as well as in presentations. And I think the one that stands out the most is the importance of food in almost every single culture. And typically in the pre-K, there's a culminating event that's called a multicultural luncheon. in which everybody gets to put on and I guess taste all of the different foods that represent their countries of origin. So here's another example of what might an activity in an art center for a plant unit of study. Again, flower making. In the builder center, there might be gardening. Again, sticking with the plant unit of study. Donovan is looking at plants around the world. In the writing center, here's an example of what might happen during the baby unit of study. They're learning the letter B for baby. All of the 9 units of study lend themselves to writing and emergent literacy skills that include letter recognition, sound letter correspondence, and in some cases, actually learning how to read. It's another example of the plant unit of study and what could be done there. Math is integrated in all of the 10 units of study that we use. So there's opportunity for graphing, sorting, categorizing. We also teach math concepts such as composing and decomposing numbers from 1 to 5 in our dedicated math curriculum, which is called Engage New York or Eureka Math. And we actually use that curriculum pre-K through 5. So all of the structures and the math language is similar throughout, and kids grow accustomed to it right away and pretty able at their mathematical thinking and presentations. So here's more examples of what can be done in the Science Center in a unit of study around water. This exploration was focused on how much water can a diaper hold, which sounds like it was lots of fun. Down below, there's Music and Movement Center, but we also have, well, that can be done anytime in the classroom, but we also have a partnership with Third Street Music School for music once a week. And songs can either be tied to the unit of study, like a song about rain in the, unit of study on water, or they can just be singing and movement for the simple joy of responding to and making music. More examples and exploration in the Science Center. In the Dramatic Play Center could be focused again on a unit of study like water or transportation, and then the dress up props could be anything from bathing suits and raincoats to taxi and or conductor uniforms. More art centers. Water. Let me keep it going. I think I'm looking for, let's see. Here's an example of the Family Share, which is the culminating unit which is the culminating event at the end of a unit. And in this case, Nathan was sharing what his favorite things to do were when he was a baby, and now as a 4-year-old, what his favorite things are to do and what he enjoys playing with. We have a computer center in both of our pre-K classrooms, and platform application called ABC Mouse is something that our students use frequently. The Builder Center, we have Salvino, actually creating a car wash connected to the water unit, and ice cube painting at the Art Center, also part of the water unit. So one of the other ways we involve parents is through read alouds. And this is something that we started in person, and that pre-K was able to kind of transition to the virtual environment pretty successfully. So here are 2 examples of families doing read alouds from their home that all of the students could take advantage of and listen to. There are actually a book list. There's a book list attached to each unit of study. Those books are kept in the classroom. They're put in the library. During library center time, kids are free to peruse those books and read them multiple times over and over again to either themselves or their peers. In addition to, obviously, the planned read-alouds that are delivered by parents, whether in person or remotely. And again, more multicultural opportunities and other activities. So I think I'll leave it at that for now, and hopefully you'll have questions for me. I appreciate the opportunity to present PS 110.
Thanks so much, Karen. This is a reminder, if you do have questions, please put them in the chat. If they can be answered in the chat, they will be. If not, we will answer them during the Q&A. With that, we're going to move on to PS 134 and Principal Robert Perales.
Hi, families. Welcome to the District 1 elementary school fair. It looks a little different this year than years past. And I want to thank the District 1 team for constructing this and having us still have an opportunity to share our amazing school with all of the other colleague schools for tonight. And so I'm going to share my screen, and we have our pre-K team with us as well. And they're going to talk us a little bit through the average day, the curriculum, what it's the experience is like in pre-K, and then I'll talk a little bit about the overarching experience of PS 134. And thank everybody for joining us, and hopefully they'll have some more questions afterwards for us, and we'll make sure that you're directed to all of the lines of communications to be able to get a hold of the school and find out more information. So I just want to start with just sharing some of the philosophies, values, and visions of the school overall. And I think like this is an interesting sequential order that we're looking at now in how we prioritize our learning environment and spaces. For the students that come into PS 134, often this is the first time that they're having some type of formalized education. And it's an experience that when we introduce it to them, we want it to be filled with happiness and joy. Learning is lifelong, and it's the first years of coming into elementary school where you can showcase the joy, the rewards, and the happiness that formalized education really offers. And so that's the first and foremost of all of the students that join our learning environment, is that happiness is a major part of that. And that comes with building and designing friendships, that comes with socializing, but that also comes with academics and knowing who you are. And so we really emphasize a lot of the social emotional learning aspects of that, and being able to self-actualize or recognize your identity and where you come from. We're an incredibly diverse school, and it's important to really have a command of your identity and explore where you come from and who you are, and also to just build out independence. We really don't want our kids relying too much on us. We want them to explore, and exploration is a large part of our pre-K environment. And our pre-K teachers will speak a little bit more in depth about just the choice time that they have, the exploration that they have, in order to build confidence. And then one of the big initiatives that we have at our school is really looking at STEAM and 21st century education. That's the sciences, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so we really want to emphasize all of those in order to teach the entire child. That's the physical side, the socialization side, the academics, and then just leveraging the interest of the child. I have a child that is a fish child, and the exploration of fish is something that we encourage him to do, but not every child is a fish child. But all of our kids have a passion or a love for lots of things that they come with. And we want to make sure that we're leveraging that passion and that love in their academics. And so we want to be able to build strong relationships with all of our kids and recognize their interest. And so we do offer a very unique program in the sense that we offer a special cluster class that is just focused around science and lots of hands-on learning, including design and makerspace environments. We also have a partnership with Boot Up this year that we're really exploring a lot of like early coding, and Scratch Junior as the platforms that we offer alongside of that. We also have a partnership with Third Street Music, and so we offer a dance program for our lower grade students, and then we offer percussion and drumming for our upper grade students. And so I'm a drummer, and so I like to drum with the kids, and I actually go in there and join them, and it's a really wonderful experience, and they're preparing for a virtual performance that's going to be culminating at the end of this year. And then we also have an art teacher on staff, and most of the art for our pre-K is some of what you're seeing here. It's traditional art methods with the visual arts as a major representation. But as they age through our program and get into the upper grades, it's where we really start looking at integrating a lot of 21st century art with Photoshop. We do a lot of stuff with stop animation film and technology, and integrating technology into the arts. And so that's just overall our philosophy and our value and mission. And I'm going to turn it over to our pre-K teacher now, Miss Sandell, to talk a little bit about what your child would experience on daily routines and some of the overarching units of study.
Etty, you want to speak to this one? Etty?
Hi. Yes, thank you. I'm actually Pitsky. I am also 134, and I'll talk about this slide. This is a slide, an example of our daily routines in the classroom. And the reason we chose to show it to you in this way is because this is how the kids see it when they come in. And it's actually more interactive because they're actually the independence, the autonomy of the children. And that is, they are the ones who come in, they're monitors. You know, we have several jobs in our classroom, but one of them is to manage our daily routine. And so the kids know how to put the routines up daily, depending on the day of the week. And it is, you could see there's a picture with corresponding words. You begin to associate the picture with the word, the letter, and it's the beginning of reading. We're going to talk a lot more about that, but that's just the beginning. So as you see, they come in, they've got table toys, that's independent time. We have morning meeting, which includes talking about the day, the feeling that was mentioned, and also about the day of the week and the weather. And then we also have reading. We read a book, we discuss it, and the books all have to do with our curriculum, which is all based on research. We've got 10 of them, which we'll go into in a few minutes. We've got 10 research-based units, and their and problem-solving skills through our organization of our classroom environment and their interaction with the students, and the purposeful play that happens throughout the day, and their experience with the books. And so then we have breakfast. You could see centers, that's where they choose at recess, always happens, whether it's rain or shine. We have a place, we go out to the playground, you'll see pictures. We have a beautiful playground for pre-K students. That's new, actually. It's only about 2 years. It's fabulous. And if it rains, then we have a place designated in the building for recess. So the kids never miss out on recess. Then we have lunch, story time again, nap time, snack, centers again, and this is a picture of their home. And they know that the end of the day is coming. Mommy will come back, daddy will come back, auntie will come back to get them. So they feel very safe and secure within our environment, and know that at the end of the day, they get to see their family. And it just works really beautifully that way. We can move on to the next slide. I'm just going to spend another minute on the curriculum. These are the research-based units that we have, and as you can see, they spiral. They, one spirals on top of the other. We start with the Welcome to Pre-K, My 5 Senses. Robert was talking about that, about knowing who you are, knowing the self, and it's actually much more expansive than this, but we can go into that later in the Q&A maybe, but it's basically about my pre-K classroom, learning about me, my classmates, my teachers. The books are all centered around that. The centers are centered around that. Then we expand from that, from like the me to the we. Where do we live? All about us. And then after that, it's transportation. How did we get here? What other ways can we get here? You'll see pictures of that too. We have light and water, which is also all about learning about our environment. And then the final one, plants, babies, and transformation, it's learning about change. It's getting ready for kindergarten. So just as we are transitioning and transforming, our curriculum transforms with it, and we move right alongside.
Okay, this is just some pictures of the children doing some of the activities. It's just a continuation, transformation of the trees you'll see over here. Over here on the bottom, you see little spiders and binoculars for our senses. Okay, I think we spoke a little bit about that. These are just special events that happen in our school, the Oktoberfest, 100th day of school.
Sorry, that's slide.
Okay. That you'll see 100th day, the little girl wearing a hat and counting out 100 Cheerios. We have a read aloud, the Halloween parade where we walk around our school. We have a talent show. We have a speech festival. These are things that actually from pre-K all the way up, attendance celebrations and honor rolls. Okay, one of the main things that we do is we learn all about ourselves and our names are very, very big in our unit. We are constantly doing different activities. If you see in the beginning of the year, like over here, you'll see Owen is putting his name together with cubes. Lewis put his names together at home with tiles. The children cut out the letter L for his name. This was, I think, Landon, and he cut out all the L's that he could find for his name. When we get to each unit, we usually do their names. This was the light unit. So we had the Christmas ornaments and they wrote their names. This is our okay. We had a baby unit, which we focus mainly on hatching chickens. And we actually have a baby chicks. We have 2 chicks that come, and then we usually have about 7 eggs, and it is the most amazing experience for the children. No matter how many times I do it, I'm just like awed by it. So that's like a really big unit in our school. This is our light unit. As you could see, these are all pictures of the children at their homes. This is when we were all on Zoom. We actually delivered all the materials that the children needed. Once a month, we go to their homes and I bring their things that they need. So this was the candle unit. So here's a picture of them all making the candles.
1:34, I'm going to have to give you a 1-minute warning.
Okay, so we'll just quickly go through it. This is the shadows in our light unit. This is water fun, different experiences with them. How many pennies, freezing the water, freezing ice, absorbency, Skittles, water beads. We did a whole unit on the Eensy Weensy Spider where we actually brought a water spout into the classroom and into the children's homes. And then we did a whole unit on how much water do you need to get the spider out. 100th day fun. Transportation unit, we go all around. Apple unit, just to give you a little taste of some of the things that we do. You could just keep going. This was our science, making a rain cloud, which material is the most absorbent, snow, making bubbles.
And I think we might be a little bit short on time there, but thank you again, District 1 team, for setting this up. Families, if you have more questions, we'll see you at 7 o'clock or at 6:30. I think we'll start with the Q&A session. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you so much. There are some questions in the chat if any of our principals want to look at them. We are going to go on to PS 142, Principal Daphne Gutman.
Hi, welcome everyone. It's really nice to see so many folks here. Thanks also to the District 1 team for arranging this and giving us the opportunity to share our schools in this way. I want to just also start by saying the pictures that you're going to see in our slideshow are all pre-pandemic pictures. And that's partly because I am at heart a very optimistic person, and I'm really hoping that when we come back in September, we will all be post-pandemic, and so things will look like this again. But I'm happy to also answer questions about what we're doing now to keep kids safe and what that looks like in our school. You just won't see any of that depicted here right now because these are all pre-pandemic pictures. So if you're interested in what we're doing now and what that looks like, I'm happy to answer that afterward. So who are we? We are a small round school just by the Williamsburg Bridge. And we have 4 core values that we hold very closely, and we really try to have them shine through everything we do. So by readiness, we mean that we're making sure that our kids are ready for when they leave 142 to contribute in any way that they want to their community. In order to make that happen, we emphasize problem solving and embracing challenge and critical thinking. When we think about inclusion, we're thinking about how we live in a world where we need to learn how to enjoy being with people who are like us and being with people who are not like us, and understanding how we can interact peacefully with everybody that we encounter throughout our life. And so we really want kids to embrace the opportunity to get to know people who are similar to them and also people who are very different from them. Social justice has been an important core part of our curriculum and our work. We do a lot of work around what it means to be fair, how that looks in a classroom, and also how that looks in the wider world, and what our role as individuals in a community is in order to perpetuate and maintain social justice. And finally, empathy. We really think it's so important for people to be able to understand the feelings of others. We think if people can do that, that goes a long way to making a much more peaceful and just society. So that's one of our core values, and we make sure that that shines through in nearly everything we do in the classroom. Every morning when kids come in, and this has also been shared by some by 110 and 134, we have morning meeting. Kids start by signing in, learning how to write their names. In the beginning of the school year, this is very teacher-led. The teacher plans the morning meeting, the teacher leads the morning meeting. But as you can see over time, as the year goes on, kids start taking more and more ownership in the classroom. And that's really what we want to see. We're really excited when kids decide that they want to write the morning message or pieces of the morning message. We like it when they show that individualism and that ownership, that agency in the room. And that's something that we try to foster every day in our classrooms. All of our learning is contextualized in these interdisciplinary units of study, very similar to what you've seen already from 110 and 134. You can see units on light and shadow here, just as you saw in some of the previous presentations. We make sure that as kids are moving through the classroom, they're getting immersed in these units so that they're learning language. They have multiple opportunities to engage with this. Sometimes they're writing, sometimes they're reading, sometimes they're storytelling orally, but it's always around this theme so that they build a really good base of knowledge. We also think it's really important for kids to engage in hands-on learning. Small kids especially, we want to make sure things are as concrete as possible and then move from the concrete to the abstract. So as kids are learning math, they're counting with objects, they're playing with objects. Sometimes we make it even fun with some pretzels or popcorn or things that kids want to use. We think the more joy there is in the classroom, the more learning there is in the classroom. Art is also a big part of our pre-K. We do have an in-house art teacher who has an art studio that kids visit and create in, but they also do art in their own classroom every day. You can see in these pictures that kids are using a variety of different materials that are available. We try to make sure that kids have different sensory experiences throughout the day. So you can even see the water and sand table in the background, because we want kids to feel and touch the world and know that the world is there for them. We have hands-on science explorations as well in our classrooms every day. So there's always something that they're doing that connects to science. You can see sort of the plant unit that's already been referenced, and here we have some of that happening. Kids are having butterflies hatch and then they go out and release them. water boat races to see who can blow their water boat faster, things like that. So again, it's about hands-on, and it's about incorporating joy into everything we're doing in the classroom. We are also partner with the New York Food Bank, and we have the Cook Shop program in our classrooms in early childhood. Kids have a chance to try new foods, learn some healthy eating habits, create new foods. We find sometimes we think our kids are picky eaters and they don't want to eat things, but when they actually prepare it and they know how it started, and then they've been able to cut it up and they've been able to create something with it, they're much more eager to try it. So you can see some of our kids cooking here in Cook Shop. Students eat breakfast and lunch in the classrooms, but they go outside every day in our playground for recess. Sometimes they go out twice a day if the weather is nice enough. We really do like to get kids outside, both because it's fun and also to develop those gross motor skills that we know are really important for kids. We also think that learning happens outside the classroom for sure. And again, when it's not in the middle of a pandemic, we really take advantage of living in New York City, and we get kids out into the community to learn in all kinds of places, whether it's the fire station, as you can see here, or the laundromat, or the supermarket, or the pizzeria. We want our kids to be out in the community learning from their neighbors. And of course, we want the community to come in to our classrooms and learn with us as well. So family participation is really strongly encouraged. We have many opportunities for families to come in and celebrate with us, again, when it's not a pandemic. So here you can see a celebration that involves some feasting. Sometimes we have family art days so that family members can come in and do some art with their kids. Once a month, we have Family Fridays, which usually involve families coming into the building, although now it's all virtual. And that involves spending about first period in the classroom with your child, learning to do something with them or letting them show you something that they've done. And we accompany that with a workshop to sort of support you in helping your child learn and sort of understanding what it means for your child to be in school and how you can support them when they're in school or at home. I'm Daphne Gutman. I'm the principal. You can reach me here. I want to hear from you. I want to know more about what you want to know about our school. Our parent coordinator is also on the line here, Jackie Munoz. She can maybe wave if she's got her box on. And you can always reach out to her too. She's really knowledgeable about our school. She's been here longer than I have, I think over 20 years. And we'd really love to hear from you. So please reach out and we can give you any more information that you want about our school. And we'll also be here, of course, for the Q&A. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We are going to transition to PS 184, and we have Principal Jeremy Kabanoff who will be sharing for the school.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to the District 1 Fair. As always, thank you, Superintendent Chan and Deputy Superintendent Mastillo, along with the District 1 team, Felicia. And as always, just to be surrounded by great principals like we've heard from just before, it's amazing to be in District 1. So I am going to get our share on. Let's get excited. It is evening time. And let's get into it. So we are Shuang Wen School, PS 184. We are the dual language Mandarin school. My name is Jeremy Kabanoff. I've been at the school for about a year and a half. But while I am the new principal at Shuang Wen, I come in with about 20 years of DOE experience, 5 of those years at the district level as a deputy sup and an acting sup, where it gave me the honor and privilege to see so many classrooms, so many amazing teachers, and really package a playbook that I get to implement today. So really an amazing thing. Here at Shuang Wen, couple of things that we'd like to highlight for you. First and foremost, before I go into the numbers, we work underneath 4 pillars that we hold very, very true to our hearts. The first one is absolutely personalized learning. We want to meet our scholars at the proper entry point and really push them to leaps and bounds, again, at their level, and again, making it all relevant instruction. The next piece that was critical in our newly established partnership is the second pillar, parents as partners. There are many things I'm going to share with you quickly tonight that were implemented based on our parent partnerships, feedback, things that were discussed at the dinner table. Again, we elicit information as best we can, where we advocate parents, families, grandparents, whatever, to share with us what's being discussed. Because the thing that we want to make sure is that our kids are excited, right, to get up first thing in the morning, especially right when that early alarm clock goes off. They're champing and itching at the bit to go, because what we have inside our classrooms is engaging, it's exciting, it's the things that we can't wait to go home and talk about. Third, very, very important, we call it for students by students. Nice way of saying student voice, student leadership. And there'll be some slides later on in our presentation where we look to hear from our scholars about what works, what doesn't work, what they would like to see. And we collectively get together to see what we possibly can do. And again, with such a strong PTA, there have been such amazing things that have been lifted off the ground so quick, again, for our students, by our students. And then last but not least, collaboration, right? We have to work together, whether that's students with teachers, with admins, with families, etc. Again, those are our 4 pillars that we work very true to our hearts. But getting into the logistics at Shuang Wen, our student population is about 720 students. We are currently a pre-K to 8 school, but it looks like we will be a 3K to 8 school, and more literature will be forthcoming as we receive it from the DOE. Currently, we have 2 pre-K classes at about 18 students per class. We were able to, as a sidebar, we were able to package 5-day in-person learning for all grades, pre-K all the way up to grade 8, while being able to implement a full remote program with numbers conducive to support, right? Pillar number 1, personalized learning. Again, the numbers you see here, right? 3K class is anticipated for next year, about roughly 15 students, 2 pre-K classes. And then for those of us that are on the call for kindergarten, we are about 3 classes, maybe 4. Mr. G and I, our guidance counselor extraordinaire, is with us tonight, along with our new parent coordinator, Mr. James. He replaced our legendary Miss Alice. Big shoes to fill, but you know, my team is here with us. But we always have a little game. Anybody that thinks that they will be entering Shuang Wen next year, they follow us during this presentation. I see it, they get principal extra credit points on the very, very first day of school. So why not incentivize right before the very first day of school? But all kidding aside, I'll monitor that throughout the presentation. Curriculum, very synonymous of what we extraordinarily heard from Daphne, from Robert, and from Karen. Our counterparts do such an amazing job. Quick shout out to Miss Savitsky, Miss Sandell, Miss Glick for what you guys put together. Truly amazing stuff. Shows you, right, how District 1 really is just absolutely the best. So again, I'm gonna quickly roll through these slides because the other principals addressed, right, the curriculum and the pillars in which we're working from. Here's a rough schedule of what it looks like. Again, like Daphne said earlier before, this is a pre-COVID schedule. Again, I share her optimism. We are going to get back to normal. We are going to get right. We are going to do this. This is a typical schedule that you see our pre-K scholars engage in. Something a little different, just to throw it out there, since we are a dual language school, the dual language component will start as soon as the students enter, meaning that if they are entering in 3K, if they are entering in 4K, they will be introduced to entry-level Mandarin vocabulary and aspects of the curriculum. So this way, when they do fully fledged enter our K-8 program, they are rip-roaring and ready to go. Again, anybody that is on the call for kindergarten, the expectations here are the same in English and in Mandarin. We implement at the get-go the roller coaster model, where if we start in English during the morning, we end in the afternoon Mandarin. The following day we do Mandarin, then end in English, and you see on the back and forth. As we progress and get into the older grades, you'll see you'll hear about or see, depending on the side-by-side model. And then our team in the middle schools have been working on how do we fully immerse the dual language component to at least 90% of the day to really support fluency by the time our students graduate 8th grade. So I'm just going to skip over because my counterparts beautifully put it out there. Now, these 4 programs are just few of the samples that we have from a software standpoint over at Shuang Wen. We are very fortunate that we are, with a 720 student population, we are a one-to-one technology school, meaning that each student has access to a laptop, computer, tablet, etc. And what we were able to package collectively is if grades and or departments were looking for something software oriented that supported the curriculum, enhanced the curriculum, we found a way to support it, implement it, and give our students and families access. Again, we'll have, Mr. James has our next date for our next tour. So if you are interested in getting really specific as to what we offer and what we do, we encourage you guys to come and see us where we can really delve in and spend significant time. But here is something that we're very, very proud of. We have a number of partnerships that support what it is that we're looking to do. I'm going to go right to the middle, just in the essence of time. What we have is a partnership with Brooklyn Tech High School and Stuyvesant High School, where high school students are engaged in an internship where they work with our students and either tutor, support our students, whether it's Mandarin, English, science, social studies, social emotional learning, so on and so forth, or just homework support. It was awesome where it actually came from a parent, right? Parents as partners. We met with the assistant principal over at Brooklyn Tech. We were able to lift it off the ground. And it wound up being that a Brooklyn Tech parent was talking to a friend who happened to be a Stuyvesant parent. And the Stuyvesant parent called up the guidance counselor and said, well, how come not us? And then the short of it was, next thing you know, not only was it a partnership with Brooklyn Tech, but it was also a partnership with Stuyvesant. Make Your Moment is a great leadership program that we implement for all grades, going all the way up to, from kindergarten all the way, pre-K, sorry, all the way up to grade 8, where we use celebrity sports star power, such as Stephon Matteau from the 1994 New York Rangers Stanley Cup winning team, to facilitate leadership exercises with our students and intertwine how their leadership abilities can contribute to something positive toward the school, toward their family, toward their peers, towards their community, etc. And it was really great to see that while this was something pre-pandemic, at the culminating end piece after students gave their presentation, Stephon Matteau invited everybody out to a Ranger game, gave them the tour, and the students and their families were able to hang out and actually catch a New York Ranger game. So it was pretty cool stuff. Here we offer a wide array. This is just a sample. There's more, the list goes on, but we do offer a wide array of extracurricular activities ranging from chess league, tennis, soccer. We have something that is very, very personal to me, what we call the student to student buddy system. We are a pre-K to 8 school, meaning that we have 4-year-olds going to school with 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And we want to create this atmosphere at Shuang Wen where it's a big family unit rather than little kids being intimidated by seeing some of the big kids. And part of my son's schooling prior to him transferring was where little kids were intimidated because the systems and structures weren't set in that manner where big kids interacted positively with the little kids. Here at Shuang Wen, we have that. And we have that in a number of ways. We have the older students working with the younger students, whether it's just buddy to buddy, reading, homework help, supporting the teacher, whatever the case may be. And even on the upper end, if there's anybody that also has an older child that is possibly toying with going to Shuang Wen in 6th grade, we also have our veteran students engaging in camaraderie-based events for those new to the school. So in some way, shape, or form, we have a matrix going on where students get to know each other and systems and structures are in place where everybody is as comfortable as they possibly can, regardless of how old, how big, how small, whatever the case may be. Saturday, tutoring, after school, it's all there. Something true to heart as a former martial artist, it was something that was always embedded by our master, where it was strive for a good moral character. While Shuang Wen has the reputation, right, in terms of rigor, we also want to promote the whole child. And we want to make sure that as we develop the child, especially from such a young age, we have the attributes, right, that we should see, right, from everybody in society. So we took our name, created the acronym, month by month, starting in October, going all the way into June. These are the things that we look for and celebrate. It was great when pre-pandemic, like Daphne said, pre-pandemic, we had parents and families come in. We celebrated, we took pictures. Now we're doing it virtually, and we found ways to really pump up the excitement and get kids excited about being honored and recognized, and also just showing students that while we are going to recognize you for hard work academically, there are other things that we are going to acknowledge, honor, and recognize outside of the textbook as well. So we thought these attributes that were created collectively and collaboratively are something that we recognize on a monthly basis. And it's really, really cool to see. Very similar to what Daphne mentioned in terms of learning experiences outside the classroom. Previously, when I was in District 11, brought this over to Shuang Wen. We call it Leave to Learn. And the story I tell everybody, whether it's through a tour or to my staff or to even the kids, I talk about my trip with my family to Pennsylvania, where we visited a replica of a Native American longhouse. And I remember going back to my 6th, 7th grade days, where that was a huge major focus of study. And the innovative thing that might have happened back then, if I even remember, can go back that far, was that maybe the teacher was able to pop up the video and give us something different than it just being inside the textbook. Me as an adult, right, going inside, seeing this replica, where the first half of this, right, longhouse was pre-European, and the second half was post-European, and you could see how things shifted and changed just in terms of weapons, instruments, tools, kitchen utensils, etc. And I have to tell you that within the 10 minutes, 15 minutes we might have spent inside there, it struck a chord, and it connected something that I learned about 30 some odd years ago, right, as an adult, where when we bring it to the school, and we have brought it to the school, where if we get kids outside and we have them engaged in things where they can touch it, they can taste it, they can see it, they can feel it, and it's in alignment to the curriculum, that goes back to what I said earlier about getting the excitement factor, about what it is that you learned today, not having to worry about getting the kid up because the alarm went off so early. They're already up because they want to see what tomorrow brings or the next day brings to the table. There's a lot more things that we can go into. I know in the essence of time, you know, we want to keep it nice, short, and sweet. Before I close out, I'm going to turn it over to our parent coordinator, Mr. James. He has a short video clip to show you guys. And then while he's setting that up, here is our contact information. I'll throw my email, Ms. Gia, Mr. James will throw their contact information in the chat box as well. We're all about either come see us during the tours. We could always carve out space where we can speak 2-on-1, 2-on-2, whatever the case may be, address any questions, inquiry that you may have. So I'm going to stop my share and turn it over to James. And if you could pop that video for everyone, that'd be great.
It's short, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That we said, Principal Kavanaugh.
30 seconds.
All right.
Yes, thank you, Dr. K. Good evening, everyone. Well, what I'm going to show you is the Lunar New Year performance from our student. Just show one here.
Thank you, James. So that's us, Shuang Wen 184. Thank you everyone for your time. We look forward to meeting you.
Thank you. That video was awesome. The kids are adorable and an amazing way to close us out. We're going to go into the chat. We do have some questions in the chat. I know our principals and our team have been answering some of the questions. But our first question is for December birthdays, starting 3K, then 4K, is there an opportunity to delay kindergarten in 2023? I would start us off by saying that if a child is new to us in the Department of Education, they would be placed in a grade according to their birthday. I think if they were with us over time, it would be more of a conversation between the school and the family about readiness. But does anybody want to add to that? We're good. Okay. PS 184, are both pre-K classes dual language? If so, why in the application are there two program options, pre-K and pre-K dual language, suggesting that one is not dual language? Principal Kabanoff, can you clarify?
Sure, yeah, so for enrollment purposes, they do have one class designated monolingual, the other class dual language, but both classes do intersperse the entry level dual language. So, you know, if it is something that you're looking for, and let's say you're placed monolingual while you were looking for dual language, both the pre-K teachers are working synonymously together and offering instruction of the sort to both classes. So technically, yes.
The next question was about foreign language options across our schools. And among tonight's schools, 184 is the only school that offers a foreign language. We do have some other foreign language programs in the district. Another question, I know this was answered in the chat, but I'll just read it for everybody. Is it possible to transfer schools after pre-K, and how does that work? So it is possible. The kindergarten application process is a separate process. And so you would apply and rank your choices for kindergarten the same as you would for the pre-K application. Next question is PS 184, what are the priorities for admission? Is there a priority to any borough? So I'm going to ask, there's a few pieces in here. So I know that one of our principals shared that part of kindergarten priority is being present in the pre-K, and that is true. That's part of the priorities, but there are other priorities in District 1, including our diversity and admissions priority. I am going to ask if Office of Enrollment is still on, if perhaps we could share a little bit more on that.
And yes, I am still here. Give me 1 second as I just go to the priority list. So when it comes to the 4 different types of programs, and each, as we know that each of them have, so the non-zone schools in District 1 is a non-zone school. The pre-K centers, they are run by the New York City DOE, but they're separate from district schools. And the 968, these programs are run by city-based organizations. So when it comes to priorities, what I will do is, if it's okay, I'm just going to have ES enrollment. I'm going to have you email that question to ES enrollment, and they'll be able to give it to you clearly. I do have the admission priorities your child has a better chance of getting into some programs than others, but their priorities are more specific. So I'm just gonna have them email ES enrollment.
Okay, thank you. And I'm just going to add that the question was specific to 184. So I just, Principal Kavanaugh, the priorities for 184, we follow the same priorities across the district when students are entering 184. So there's no language priority in the early childhood grades for the school, right? Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the school would follow our same diversity and admissions priority and zone and attendance priorities. Thank you. There is a question in the chat. Apologies if this is the wrong forum. This is not the wrong forum. This is the perfect forum for this. And this is a question that has come up across the evenings, but what does each school offer in terms of early drop-off and after-school programming? So can each of the principals share?
Sure. So pre-COVID, we would open up the doors as early as 7:30 for an extended breakfast, giving families the opportunity to get a good jump on the road to get to work on time. And we have after-school opportunities that exist Monday through Friday, where traditionally we pretty much end around 5:30, 5:45 evening time daily.
I can go now. At 110, we don't have a formal early drop-off program, but kids are in the building on a case-by-case basis as early as 7:45. And after, did you ask for after school too, Christine, at this time? So we have multiple after-school programs. Most of them only take kids kindergarten through 5th grade, and the one program in the building that takes pre-K students, if they're here next year, right now there's none, but if they're here next year, they will continue to take pre-K students, but it's a fee-based program, although there's flexible pricing, whereas the K-5 program that's in the building and one that picks up in the building, they are both free.
I'll go next. So pre-COVID, students were arriving as early as 7:30 for an extended breakfast. The teachers would come and pick up the students at 8:15 to start the instructional day. And so we do offer early drop-off. For after school, we have 2 settlement houses in the Lower East Side, University Settlement and Henry Street Settlement, that are part of our after-school programming, and the programming's run until 5:45 p.m. Like Karen just shared, that is for our grades K through 5. We're actually currently waiting for a grant to come through with our Henry Street Settlement partnership that may actually include our pre-K. So no promises on that, but it sounds like we're in a good place for offering pre-K after school programming for free from 2:35, which is traditionally the time that we dismiss, until 5:30.
I wrote this in the chat, but I'll briefly just say we have early drop-off at 7:45 at PS 142, and we're a community school with Educational Alliance, and so they provide a free extended day after school for K through 5 currently. That goes until 5 or 5:30, depending. And pre-pandemic, that was also offered for pre-K, so we hope after the pandemic, we'll be able to offer that for pre-K as well.
Question around 3K. Does 3K need to be fully potty trained? I believe the answer is no, but I'm looking for
I
confirmation.
No. Yeah, it was relayed to me that's a no.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yes, my understanding is no.
Okay. I don't think we have any more questions in the chat right now, but I do want to go to our translation lines. Are there any questions that parents have on our translation lines?
There's no question in the Spanish line.
There is no question on the Mandarin line.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no additional questions, We are going to wrap up for the night. I think that everyone has contact information to follow up with the schools. Schools are offering virtual tours. The information is in the chat for each of our schools. You can also access information about each of our schools on our district website. This will be posted on our district website, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. We will have it up there. And sorry, I see we're getting one more question in the chat. Is free after school income-based or available to all students? For most of our after schools, it is free and it's not income-based. And most schools have at least some free after school offerings. The issue we run into with some of our CBOs is they can't cover pre-K, and that's why sometimes pre-K is different, because their contractual funding only covers kindergarten and above. So that's a piece that we do run into. So our schools try to provide with other programs to support. Okay. All right, so once again, thank you to the translation unit for tonight. Thank you to the Office of Enrollment. Thank you to our amazing principals and school teams for coming on and sharing your amazing schools. I loved all of your presentations, and I can't wait to be visiting your pre-K students more often, because that is my favorite. And thank you to our parents who have come out tonight, and especially those of you who have come out repeatedly every night to learn all about our school options. And are looking to join us here in District 1. We're very excited and can't wait to welcome your children to our schools. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.